Well, Philip, welcome to A House for Arts. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Lara. Glad to be here.
So you're the CEO of the Proctors Collaborative.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about how you started in this role and also how you see the Proctors Collaborative changing over the years.
I was hired by Proctors Theater in 2002. My first work date was March 4th, which a friend of mine in Jamestown, New York, which is where I was, said, it's the only day of the year that's a command. So I guess I took that to heart. And the theater, a lovely vaudeville house that was a movie house and a vaudeville house, had a stay of execution in the 70s. It was to be torn down, and the community wanted to save it and convince the city to put a roof on it so that it could try performances. And they did half a dozen. And it slowly began to grow over years. And when I was hired, the March 4th command was, we want to expand the stage to be able to do substantive touring Broadway. So with that as the command, and with a fair amount of community tenacity, Schenectady was in rough shape. And the community basically said, we got to do Proctors first and build around it. And with that sense of tenacity, we raised $42 million and renovated the theater and built a power plant and added the GE Theater and renovated Robb Alley and added an education center and went from being a theater to a performing arts center. Then over time, we realized that the capital region is a suburb surrounded by cities, not a city surrounded by suburbs. With that understanding, we started to talk regionally more and more and more and more and more. And at the time when Capitol Repertory Theater was having some distress, we entered into negotiations to do an alliance. And that alliance worked very well. In fact, we're close to completing a renovation, $14 million renovation in Albany for the theater, whenever it can open. And a similar kind of arrangement happened with the Universal Preservation Hall, beautiful building in downtown Saratoga. And as the board and the organization thought about it, Proctors Collaborative became the most logical moniker, right? We're no longer Proctors Theater.
Well, yeah. It sounds like you're not at all unfamiliar with great challenges, right? What's the biggest challenge that Proctors is facing right now?
Well, we're closed. We went from being roughly a $30 million a year organization as a collaborative to maybe we're $2.5 million now. And that happened overnight on March, 16th. We had just opened a newly renovated building in Saratoga, had 5 concerts in it, closed it. We were halfway through the construction, or a third of the way through the construction for the new Cap Rep. We had just completed construction on our 3rd floor the year before for an expanded education center in Schenectady, the Addy. And suddenly it's very quiet.
Right.
And we tried to be inventive. We have done stuff online. We've done educational stuff online. Cap Rep has done their new play festival in a Zoom format. We opened UPH to an exhibit from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which goes on through September. And it's a great exhibit, 20 people every 2 hours. So it's not a lot of people, not a lot of folks, but keep it active. We made arrangements with our property in Schenectady that it will be the winter home for the Empire State Youth Orchestra so that they can be safely spread. They've done all the orchestral protocols. They're taking over almost the entire 1st floor of all the properties, Key Hall, GE, Robb Alley. It's a very unusual use, but the building is the community's building. It needs to be used for something. And
right.
If it's not performance, well, this will work.
Right. I mean, people often perceive things like institutions or organizations for medicine or food or health as quote unquote essential right now. And there's no doubt that they are. But how are the performing arts in particular essential for people right now?
I'm going to answer 2 ways. In our case, and then in the broader case that you are questioning. In our case, we're a bit of an unusual organization in that we had public access television for Schenectady and Albany. So that's media, so that was an essential business, so that business stayed open. We are a power supplier through hot and cold water distributed underground to about 20 customers in downtown Schenectady, and that's a utility, so that was an essential business. And we're a provider of ticketing services through our data system in our building to the Egg, Troy Music Hall, Schenectady Players, a variety of organizations throughout the region. And because of that data services, that was an essential service. So in a sense, we've had 3 essential businesses through the COVID period running while the theater itself was not. Look, the arts are how we communicate. The arts are every journalist's word, is every literate word, is every visualization, is every stupid billboard, is every beautiful painting, is every gesture, every piece of being human is part of the arts. No one's going to ever take that away from society in the most repressed societies ever. The arts were part of both healing and challenging. Will we be 5 or 10 years in the rehabilitation post-COVID? Yeah, maybe. It may take a long time.
Yeah, yeah. What can people do to continue supporting the arts? Because I know that, for instance, the revenue for Proctors has now been slashed by, into a fraction of what it was previously. Obviously, it would be better to have more funds, but what can the community do, and what can government do to support and continue this performing arts? Because it's clearly an avenue for basic human expression and the human experience.
Well, all of us, the Capital Region Culturals, have been meeting for years, really, but I've convened us, specifically the theaters, the Troy Music Hall, SPAC, the Palace, to talk about how we approach communicating when the time is right. It's hard for the time to be right when schools are in chaos. It was hard for the time to be right when the disease was not under control in New York. Governor's done a great job. It's probably still not right because no one's ready to think about opening 2,600 seat building or a 400 seat building. But when the time comes, we need to speak with one voice. All of us have made massive reductions in employment and costs, yet we still have massive costs in these properties. You can't not heat the Troy Music Hall. You can't not walk every Proctors Collaborative building every day. We're in every building every day. You have to. I mean, a leak, a bad electrical things. I mean, you've got to see these properties. It all takes money just to preserve them for future use. So the most important message is don't abandon us. There'll be a point at which we're going to ask for money to restart. All of us will. We'll need to do it collaboratively. But along the way, if you're a member, stay a member. Yeah. And if you have a ticket and they say they're going to postpone the event and not eliminate it, not cancel it, hold the ticket. Don't make them give you money back. Just to take a deep breath. Yeah. Because we're going to get through this all together. Right.
There's all these small little sacrifices, but also makes a huge contribution to something like this.
5,000 ticket buyers at Proctors, subscribers, not asking for a refund is salvation.
So here's to all of us playing a role in helping keep places like Proctors alive. Thank you very much, Philip, for being on the show. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.